Welcome to the fascinating story of early medieval Britain, a time when kingdoms rose, cultures clashed, and heroes like Alfred the Great defended the land. Join us as we journey from the end of Roman Britain to the dawn of the Norman era, uncovering how Anglo-Saxon England was shaped by migrations, battles, and new beliefs. In AD 410, the mighty Roman Empire faced threats from all directions. Their soldiers, who had guarded Britain for centuries, were called back to protect Rome. Left without their protectors, the people of Britain found themselves vulnerable. Soon after the Romans left, new groups arrived from northern Europe, the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons, commonly referred to as the Anglo-Saxons. They crossed the North Sea from modern-day Germany and Denmark. At first, they were raiders, but soon they began settling, drawn by Britain's fertile land and opportunities. The native Britons tried to defend their land, and tales of leaders like King Arthur inspired many. But the Anglo-Saxons grew stronger, and slowly they spread across Britain, establishing a new way of life. By the 6th century or AD 600, the Anglo-Saxons had established powerful kingdoms, like Wessex, Mercia, and Northumbria. These kingdoms often clashed as they competed for dominance, shaping the political landscape of early England. The early Anglo-Saxons were initially not Christians. They worshipped gods like Woden and Thor, and believed in nature spirits. Their rituals often took place in sacred groves or by rivers, where they honored these ancient gods. But in 597, everything began to change. A monk named Augustine, who later became the first Archbishop of Canterbury, arrived in Kent, sent by the Pope from Rome to spread Christianity. King Ethelbert of Kent welcomed him, and soon, the Anglo-Saxons began converting to the new faith, forever altering their beliefs. Christianity spread quickly. Monasteries became centers of learning and culture. Monks copied manuscripts, preserved knowledge, and worked to spread Christian teachings across the land. In AD 789, a new threat arrived: the Vikings. Fierce warriors from Scandinavia, Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. They raided monasteries like Lindisfarne, shocking the Anglo-Saxons with their brutal attacks and marking the start of a long, violent period. Over the years, the Vikings continued to raid and even settled in parts of England. They established the Danelaw in the north and east of England, where Viking laws and customs were followed, creating a distinct divide in Anglo-Saxon England. Many place names, like Grimsby and Scunthorpe, originate from Viking languages. In AD 871, a remarkable leader emerged, Alfred the Great, King of Wessex. Alfred was a wise and determined ruler. He fortified his kingdom, reformed the army, and encouraged learning. Under his leadership, Wessex stood strong. In 878, Alfred faced a major Viking invasion at the Battle of Edington. With strategy and courage, Alfred's forces defeated the Vikings. The Viking leader Guthrum surrendered and even converted to Christianity. Following the battle, the Treaty of Wedmore was signed, dividing England between Anglo-Saxon and Viking territories. This brought a temporary peace, with the south under Anglo-Saxon control and the north and east under the Danelaw. To secure his kingdom, Alfred built a network of fortified towns called burhs and strengthened the navy to protect against future invasions. His efforts transformed Wessex into a stronghold, and his leadership became legendary. Alfred's legacy lived on. He became known as Alfred the Great, remembered for his wisdom, his courage, and his dedication to education. His descendants would carry on his work, shaping Anglo-Saxon England for generations. But the Viking threat returned in the 10th century. New leaders like Sweyn Forkbeard and Nut the Great led renewed attacks. By the early 11th century, much of England was under Viking rule once again. In 1016, Nut the Great became King of England. A powerful ruler, he also controlled Denmark and Norway, creating a North Sea empire. Under his rule, England enjoyed peace and prosperity. In the north, the threat of Viking attacks encouraged the people to unite under a single king, Kenneth mac Alpin. It was around this time that the term Scotland began to be used to describe the country. After Nut's death, Edward the Confessor became king in 1042. A deeply religious man, he built Westminster Abbey. But Edward left no children, which sparked a crisis over who would inherit the throne. When Edward died in 1066, the struggle for the throne began. Harold Godwin's son became king, but William, Duke of Normandy, claimed he was promised the crown. Gathering a mighty army, William prepared to invade England. In October 1066, Harold and William's armies clashed at the Battle of Hastings. It was fierce, but by the end of the day, Harold lay dead, and William had won. The battle is commemorated in the famous Bayeux tapestry, still viewable in France today. William's victory at the Battle of Hastings would change England forever. On Christmas Day, 1066, William was crowned King of England. Known as William the Conqueror, he introduced Norman customs and laws, beginning a new chapter in English history. William's rule brought changes to English society. He built castles, established the feudal system, and replaced Anglo-Saxon nobles with Norman lords, transforming the English landscape and social order. In 1086, William ordered the Domesday Book, a survey of all lands and properties in England. This book helped him organize taxation and control over his new kingdom. The Norman Conquest altered English society. French became the language of the ruling class, but Anglo-Saxon traditions continued, leaving a blend of cultures that would define England for centuries. The Anglo-Saxon influence remains strong even today. From place names to language, their legacy is woven into England's identity, standing alongside Norman traditions and innovations. The Anglo-Saxon period, followed by Norman rule, created the foundation of modern England. These events shaped the nation, connecting Britain to Europe and setting the stage for the medieval kingdom to come. And so, with the Norman Conquest, a new era of English history began. The medieval period brought new power struggles, influential kings and queens, and the roots of England's legal and social systems. In our next videos, we'll explore Norman England's evolution, from feudal castles to the foundation of Parliament. Join us as we uncover the next chapter in Britain's remarkable story. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more history.